My name is Herschel. I have an ancient star map theory that is under attack, obviously, because it's showing an alien theory, and I've got strong evidence that warrants why it's under attack. But anyway, let's do the grand secret of the gem. This here in this image is the gem museum in Egypt. Look at its shape, okay? And I've shown a depiction of the Dendara zodiac disc. I'm saying it's the leg of the bull, and its design is all about alignments and preparing for the 2nd of August 2027. So the claim is that it has an alignment story. Yes, I agree with it. I can see it. Obviously, that explained the tapering of what I believe is the thigh part of the leg shape, the most important Egyptian symbol in Egyptology, and it aligns with the 3 pyramids of Giza. So the museum shape is designed to align. That is the key word, align, because the 3 pyramids of Giza, Boval's Orion theory, I build onto. It shows the way to the star of our ancestors. And so does the leg of the bull symbol in ancient Egypt, which you'll see in the main part of this video. I've actually edited a whole lot of my old videos to make sense of this new update. So there's one of my videos, the Dendara Zodiac Decoded. It's an ancient alien star map. I show how the leg shows the way to the star of the ancestors, first man, first female, like an Adam and Eve story. And we need to look closely at the way they show the leg. It's not just any leg. It's almost identical to the gem. This strange little piece down here, which is very emphasized coincidentally, let's say for now, for the design of the Grand Egyptian Museum. Of course, there's the leg of the bull symbol. It's called the 7 Imperishable Stars, 4,000-year-old 12th dynasty picture in the Nubia Museum. And of course, Abusir in Egypt is part of the star map. There's 50 pyramids in Lower Egypt. I showed this is where Memphis was here. This was a whole city, and they built their most important pyramids next to it, and the Sun Temple obelisk, the only known monument that was definitely gold capped. The star map, Pleiades, leg of a bull, shows the way to a sun-like star that actually exists and documented in this video. Right, this is the Egyptian launch event of the gem, and I think Robert Boval would have been jumping up and down at home screaming out hypocrites, because they did something 3 times to show what they think is important with the museum and the pyramids. Obviously the museum aligns with the 3 pyramids of Giza. Very nice laser display showing they align in the cosmos. Then they did the drone display. That's the first piece of evidence showing it 3 stars with the 3 pyramids, bright stars. And then they did the second part of the drone display was that. And that is really where we're going to take this a whole lot deeper, because this explains everything. And there, of course, they did the graphics display projected on the side of the building. This is Robert Boval's artwork that he designed for his book, the Orion Mystery. And I went looking for that back in the year 1999, somewhere around there, looking for the origin of this depiction. And of course, he agreed that it was his artwork holding a star, because it all seems to be Orion showing the way to the star of our ancestors, which he didn't obviously complete in his book. It was more about just the Orion mystery. And what this really shows is quite stunning. If you look closely, how the belt aligns. I've got a little line added in. I also added in the Pleiades, because it's all about the leg of the bull. That wasn't shown, no, but it's the star and the alignment of the belt. Horus personified as Orion man. Orion man personified as the deity, showing his secret about his ancestors. His belt aligns to the star of the ancestors, and that's where the Pleiades are. We're going to look at that in this video. Back to that picture a little bit more now. That is the area of the pyramids down here. I just need to enlarge so you can see what's going on. There is the gem. You'll see the leg aligns that way, which is quite interesting, because that's where Alexandria was. That's where the Great Library was. That's where the Pharos lighthouse was. Now, if that still existed today, I'd say, well, we've got the star map completed. This is why they did it. This is why it aligns with the leg designed to go that direction, and why they chose the tapered thigh part of the leg and everything. It's all explained. But all that's missing is there's no Pharos lighthouse in Alexandria. Or is there? Now here's an interesting development. Okay, there's the star map that I'm showing. Pleiades aligns to the star that actually exists. Okay. Egypt is planning to rebuild the Pharos lighthouse. Now, that's a big deal now, because it's showing my star map is something real, something likely. But let's just say for now it's a coincidence, because there's a lot of developments. So that's why I showed that graphic for the leg of the bull, that the gem represents the leg of the bull. Now this is where I want to really make it clear, because people are still not getting my full explanation from my 2003 book, The Hidden Records. I claim that the secret of the pyramids decoded. Number one, using living cosmic plasma to induce an out-of-body experience. Yes, in that little part there, they have the first initiate's test to go and see what's in these rooms. He goes as a soul up a shaft and he sees the symbols and then he reports what they are. Then he's proven his first task. But then there's a second initiate ceremony, what I'm going to show you, that comes from the Dindara temple. And then, of course, then there's the out-of-body experience where they can choose two targets. That's one part of it. And then the most important part, the new area that's still under research and is completely secret. There's something in another chamber, probably a ring device. So, using living cosmic plasma to open a Stargate device, and that's where I suggested that, because that's what all the ancient writings seem to be saying over and over. And then, of course, my big part of my work in 2003, the layout plan of the pyramid shows the star targets, all the star targets with the, it'll be the south shaft. The south shaft has a 360-degree scan every day of a special group of stars that once aligned with all 50 of what I show as the pyramid correlation theory of all 50 pyramids of Lower Egypt. There's the daily star target alignment, and the tree of life is the other one. I'll go to that in more detail just now as a recap. And of course my whole pyramid star map layout, there is Giza. It's the whole 50 pyramid layout, matches all 50 stars of one 360-degree circuit of the night sky every day. They've got these targets. Now, of course, the leg of the bull. In this papyrus, it's very hard to pronounce, the Jed Ankh papyrus was in the Cairo Museum. I don't know where it is now. Is it being covered up? We'll soon find out. But it shows the landing of Ra in his celestial ship, disc, dome, 3 legs, landed on the back of the Sphinx. Yes, it's our Sphinx. Dream steel, Osiris statue in front of it. And the story comes from Nut, the cosmic womb here, and it speaks of the star of Ra, the sun-like star, cosmic serpents, 3 stars in alignment, in my opinion. It's all pictographic interpretations, of course, and that all life comes from it. And that utterance, pictographically, is telling the whole story, basically, of the birth of the sun from the womb of Nut, personified the whole cosmos. Toes touch one horizon, hands touch the other. I'll show the full video just now. But look at the leg. There's that odd little piece, just like the Gem Museum, right? They come from the leg of the bull and then land down on the Sphinx. Pretty much showing that. You can press pause and look at the detail. There's also a wormhole theory with the celestial ship, and press pause and just read it in your own time. I've changed my Facebook and YouTube accounts with this banner now, showing the plasma ribbon. I'm not using the word cosmic serpent anymore, because it's actually getting negative response, because that you've been taught is evil in the biblical writings. The serpent around the tree with Adam and Eve was destructive and evil. It's part of the cosmic tree, and I'll go into it in this video just now, but it's one of the branches of the cosmic tree that I had a near-death experience with. I can justify that it's just basically the simplicity of a living cosmic plasma light of creation that creates all time, space, matter, and life itself. So I'm just showing my graphics, so there's no doubt the cosmic serpent plasma ribbon is a big part of it. 3i Atlas, big updates. These are the old pictures of 3i Atlas. It had this blur around it, and then it turned red and got, I think, 50 times brighter. It's traveling at a ridiculous speed, and then it turned like this very pale green. And I'm saying there's something there, and this is some kind of a shock wave. You're seeing the light on the front of an object that is very, very large. I don't think it's 20 miles long, as some of the scientists are saying. That's just the effect of this light effect over some sort of gas that's discharged. And it's not just any gas being discharged. So this is what I think is doing it, and they're using it to travel at supersonic speed, 100 times supersonic. Basically, nickel, carbon dioxide. This is not a comet. This is not a comet. Then it went this greenish color, and then very blue with a greenish inner. That was just before it went behind the sun. Now it's come out from the other side of the sun, and there's important developments because it changed its speed. That's impossible for a natural object. There's also this very slight plasma ribbon. They were speaking about plasma ribbons already with the green. Now this is a blue plasma ribbon going back this direction opposite the way it's traveling, and there's something down here which I have no idea. But the source of this image, I'm going to show you now, and this is what I think's there. The source of this image showed it like this, and you can just see something happening here, and they ignored it. But I think this is what's causing it, and we're going to see developments. So I think there's still a lot more to come with 3i Atlas, because I believe it's tied in with the 2027 alien message that I decoded and published in 2019. For the 1%, the people that are causing destruction in our earth, people that are profiteering and destroying resources and enslaving humanity. They're about to enslave humanity in the course of next year, and you'll see this is the reason they're timing in the event with it. But for the 99%, this is a messianic event to save us. Just remember that very carefully. Now, the secret of the pyramids. I'm going to show, just in a nutshell, what I've shown in my books, how the pyramids work as Stargate devices and for human out-of-body experiences. The grand secret of the pyramids starts with the initiation. The initiate training to call upon the light in the pyramids. The Dendara Temple of Hathor shows the 2 stages of training. One, where this plasma tube, it's a big tube filled with a gas, is connected to an amplified device with a person who is already able to call on the cosmic serpent. The initiate has to try and prove that he can call on the cosmic serpent. Once he has passed that test, he'll go to the second part of the test, where the bulb is earthed in the pyramid. And he is on his own, and now it's the tree of life, the creation. This is the symbol for that which creates all time and space, where this cosmic serpent originates from. Is an earth energy, and he can prove it. I've also shown it in the description. You can press pause and read this in your own time, just to define it without mistake. And of course, when an initiate passes his test, he wears the Urus. It's kind of a rank. And how these chambers work, there was a pulley system where a granite slab seals it, and the initiate would be able to have an out-of-body experience, choosing 2 destinations. There is the out-of-body person in the sarcophagus, now ready to traverse the cosmos. One is for the most important stars of the cosmos, and this one goes to the tree of life. In the old times, before the impact event that caused the flood, this used to align perfectly with the tree of life. That is not happening right now. It doesn't align exactly. Although it's still the North Pole alignment shaft direction doesn't link up properly with the tree of life, in my opinion. The Queen's Chamber was obviously to prove you can have an out-of-body experience. You come out of your body, report what symbols are in there, then you are ready for the grand event where you have the out-of-body experience and can traverse the heavens. And then, of course, the missing chamber, the one that is the ghost that you see here that comes directly from the entrance. That has been discovered, but we're not getting any updates on what's in this chamber. And of course, each 24 hours of the Earth's spin, they go through these stars. When it had the perfect alignment before the impact event that caused the flood, you have all of these stars, especially these here, of course, the main reason it was built, were in alignment with that shaft. And coincidence, my biggest work in my first book, showing how all the pyramids of Egypt match that exact scan of all the most important stars. The most important one is in the middle of the pyramid field, equidistant, okay? Abysser, there's the leg of the bull constellation right there for the Pleiades. More of that in the 2-hour documentary. Now, the two best examples I've got of this tree of life. One is the Norse mythology. There's the cosmic serpent here with its tail, makes the Ouroboros, okay? It looks separate to the rainbow, it looks separate to the serpents that are down here, and the plasma ribbons that come out of the top of the mountain. But that is the big cover-up in history. They're all one. Cosmic serpents are all one energy that comes out of this pillar of light. From the bottom, the cosmic serpent is part of the tree of life. Now the story with Adam and Eve, you're supposed to believe the serpent was evil. Well, the angels that took the first humans to learn about this place were told not to interact with this creation because we use the information for bad purposes and dominion over humanity. So that was the angels telling the visitors that the cosmic serpent they're not worthy of. But that is the creation. All loving, all caring, all forgiving. So, when a soul dies from the earth, passes through the sun, through stars, out through our cosmos, and our thought obviously with other galaxies to the center of the universe, to the tree of life. But I think our tree of life is a little substation here, and that is where I had my near-death experience. So the tree of life is above our Milky Way galaxy. So that is the shape of creation. They look like serpents. That is its natural form that holds the whole universe together. So what do you think God creation would look like if it were to visit the earth? Just like it's seen in the oldest records of the man that saved the people of Egypt from slavery. Plasma ribbons. Would it be so bad that the creation stubbornly, or as a test to us, shows itself as just living light? It's not a person. This is my experience. I've made a video for it. You can see the link at the end of this video. As a witness, it's my responsibility to bring this forward as clear as possible, and then I'm stepping aside for what's happening in 2027. So that is what the tree of life looks like from my near-death experience. Beautiful mountain-type paradise, and the vapor forms a rainbow, yeah, just like it's shown. Looks like a man in a throne with bull crowns, but it's a plasma burst out of the top. All these are plasma ribbons coming from it. Just as it is on the bottom, there's a golden pyramid of lights at the bottom. It's like glass-like, and this is where the teaching goes on, where people are brought, and they're also allowed to go on a walkway that goes around here. We'll zoom in a bit. Okay, it's like a walkway where people go around and learn about the star map and the creation as living light. Pyramid with a face on top of it, and there is the leg of the bull constellation right down here, teaching about the star map. And this is what I brought back with me, the understanding of how this fits in all of our history. And I believe I was right down here interacting, like you see there, okay, with that cosmic plasma ribbon. And then of course I came back from my near-death experience and I've repeated it. Now I've shown everything that I've learned from all the holy books. If there's just one, let's just say there's one teaching that comes from all the holy books, it's what is good and what is evil. That's the most important thing out of any holy book. Now, but I want to write a book about the creation again, trying to explain it with long, big parables, and I would do it this way, with 12 words and showing the opposites of the 12 words like this. Because any human that has these habits, these are traits, human traits that people have as a habit. The person is peaceful, gentle. This one is highlighted because just with that one alone, that's the most important out of all 12. That person is most likely a very good person. A person that's very warlike, and the opposites of peaceful are the ones that you must be very, very careful of, because they're the destroyers of the earth, especially if they have wealth and power. So that is my grand teaching. Wouldn't even make a book. It's a pretty picture to define that where the creation lives within us, with the cosmic serpent, and this is terrible, destructive, and unappreciative of nature. Nature is creation. Nature has to be in harmony with everything, and people are living in harmony. Just like that. There's the Hill of Carpets. By the way, that's where the Christ was judged, and this is the Temple Mount. Okay, and that's the leg of the bull, symbol of Egypt, which I believe is the star map. matches the Pleiades, and I've shown it with a forest mainly, but there was a whole city there. This is what people realize. This is ground zero Egypt, Memphis. This is where the people were saved from slavery. And how could it have turned to what it is today? That's all that is left. I should say one more thing here. This is the Ritmare Archaeological Department's rebuild. This isn't me making it look like a leg of the bull. This is the Ritmare Archaeological Department's rebuild of what they say was once there. And I totally support their interpretation. To form that, they had their own. Egypt can no longer control their celebration of human origins. The site of Lalibela in Ethiopia has a temple mount design, the leg of the bull, a church that's carved in the shape of a cross. The exit marks the spot. The Acropolis in Greece, there's the part that's missing. There's a bit of the hoof remains of it. I've shown how this is rebuilt with megalithic blocks around the outside. There's the exit marks the spot, the Sun Temple. I've reinterpreted the Athens, Greece origins. They celebrated the Pleiades rising and setting in records of the Parthenon. Clues about my work in famous biblical works. Can you find the greatest of the Pleiades? Can you find the greatness, I should say, of the Pleiades with the band of Orion? Pleiades, the band of Orion. There is the band of Orion. It's the secret of the cross of the churches that shows the way. See, the exit marks the spot, the top of the cross. And the messenger that's coming, he holds 7 stars, it says in the biblical works. His face shines like the sun. There is the star map. That part over there, Pleiades and exit marks the spot, is superimposed where he is Orion man. Like Orion shows the way he is personifying Orion as their cosmic teacher, like the Christ did, teaching about the Bethlehem star. But now the living light that is with him, that is the problem. People need to understand what's going on here. Civilization 1 Atlantis spread throughout the area that's highlighted to Sumer, into civilization Egypt, Inca and the Maya all seem to have those same features. They all connected ancient civilizations from ground zero, the origin of Atlantis. There's the Sumerian Kuduru, the Genesis stone that we say comes from here. Now, I'd like to credit Muhammad Ibrahim here, his latest finding of the utterance that defines Orion's belt. These are the spoken words. Sa, Ha are these two collections of pictoglyphs, hieroglyphs that come from ancient pictures. Now, all I'm adding to this is what these pictoglyphs origins have with this Orion's belt utterance. I'm also taking into account, obviously, Robert Bauval's Orion belt Giza theory. I take the star map in a whole new direction, showing all the other pyramids, there's 50 of them, make a complete star map with the exit marks the spot Sun Temple as the place of the gods in the 2-hour documentary. But let's have a look at this makeup. Obviously, now I'm comparing it to the Sumerian Kuduru because there's something very similar here. I don't know if you notice it immediately. Orion's belt utterance has these symbols. Is it possible now? This will prove the weakest part of that stone to date that scholars say isn't conclusive enough to be Orion's belt. Well, let's put it to the test now with Egyptian records. Obviously, we're looking at the 3 belt stars of Orion as that title. So it's 3 stars having that title. In the beginning of the story, we have a folded, they call it a folded cloth, and the papyrus and the writing on papyrus. But there's a little bit more going on here because the folded cloth is a very gentle fold. Okay, it makes the spoken word s, but why is it shown like this? And there's another part to play with the papyrus, the writing. Papyrus drying rack would have looked like that so that it does not crease and the papyrus can dry as it is wrapped between cloth. This now takes it on a whole new direction because we have folded cloth with papyrus and writing on papyrus. It's a way of saying it is written, if those two are on their own, pictographically speaking. Then of course we have the bird symbol, which I've discovered in many other ancient civilizations shows to found civilization. Then we have this one, which is supposed to be just a twined bit of leather or something. I think it's a lot more. I'm sure it's coming to your mind immediately. What does that look like? Human DNA. And this is the evidence to verify that it is human DNA. Origins of the gods, born of the Taweret hippo goddess. This is where the gods apparently come from this birthing goddess. And the human code tied to the leg of the bull, which we know is the 7 stars of the Pleiades, with a sunlight star behind the bull's head, representing the Pleiades. And of course we have Orion, represented by Horus Sakar, showing the way to the bull in Taurus, the bull's leg, Pleiades. That is the human DNA part of it. So that's that one. Now we have the 3 flags on 3 poles. 3 flags and 3 poles. In ancient Egyptian history, they marked out the pyramids using, like any surveyor would, with a pole with flags on it. Their pylon temples were decorated with flags on poles as well, usually 3. But an Egyptian stela from Queen Mernith actually takes the Sumerian artifact a lot further. Remember, these are 2 different lands here. One has the, what I think are pair of dividers, or the alpha symbol that is for Taurus. Where that comes from is a bit of a long story, but I need to recap on it. That the Apis bull is the Aleph, which is the alpha. How did we get to that? And remember, there's the bullseye story. So you have Sirius, Orion, the 3 kings personifying those 3 stars, going in that direction. It goes to the other side of the stone object. So we turn the stone stela around, and on the back of it we have the Omega. And there, I flipped it around, you can see it there, and there's where the Pleiades and the 3 sun stars are. So what we have from scholars is that the Apis bull is the origin for the alpha symbol, the Aleph, that became the alpha symbol. And what I'm saying is that it's Taurus, the bull. You see how it's tilted like that? That's why that is shown tilted. It's the bull, and its ears there and its horns. This is how the utterance comes into play in the book of Revelation, when the cosmic messenger says, I am the Alpha and the Omega. He's saying he's from the Taurus Stargate. That man holding 7 stars is literally saying he is from the Taurus Stargate. So he's showing where his 7 stars originate from. And look carefully behind his head. The halo, as in ancient records, they show the man that's personified as Orion man has this sun star halo crown. That's that star map. It's in position behind the Pleiades like that. And that, I believe, is going to take place, guess when? 2nd of August 2027, according to the message. That's 4 kilometers wide at the ancient site of Atlantis. So let's take it into a little bit more detail now. It has these little crosses added into it. Don't know what they are, nails or something, but it does emphasize the Orion connection here. That's basically the Orion part of Sirius, Aldebaran, and of course the Orion constellation. So we have a little bit more at play here. This base that these 3 pillars are placed upon, I think it is a belt, an actual belt, because remember, this is the utterance of Orion's belt. And how I take it further is those 3 orbs there seem to be showing exactly the same as the Orion man on the Inca artifact. He's wearing an Orion belt to show he is Orion man, who is the cosmic teacher, who is, in my opinion, the man that was known as Yeshua ben Yusuf, that we call the Christ. He was also teaching of his star, the Bethlehem star, same star. So basically we have now the star in contention now, so it's reading from left to right in this case. The star, and then of course the Neturu, the gods, star of the gods. That's pretty simple, but now the breaking finding is the whole thing as an utterance. That's Orion's belt, but pictographically speaking, it's saying, it is written, the founding civilization of human lineage follow 3 sacred markers of Orion's belt to find the star of the gods. That is a star map in its own way. It's just a theory. Is it a coincidence? But pictographically, if that's how they made these little pictographs that became spoken word, they are showing the story pictographically, what's important about Orion's belt. And of course, follow the 3 belt stars of Orion. There's the star of the gods through the bullseye. That's no coincidence that you shoot an arrow to find a bullseye target. That's where it originated from. And of course, I take the star map into a whole new direction, showing the original Orion's constellation, and the exit marks the spot with 50 pyramids in Lower Egypt. That's all in the 2-hour documentary. So we have an Egypt connection with Sumer, matching 3 markers with flags, and then the orbs. Big deal. They put the orbs on top of the pole here, and there it's shown beneath the poles with a belt, Orion's belt. As I said, Atlantis used the alien message with ellipses. The Inca Golden Star Map uses ellipses for the 3 suns. That is just an ancient way, perhaps, of showing important stars. So let's look at the star map just quickly. So we have the dog star Sirius in the star map, okay? So that is the 1 star. Then you have the 3 Orion's belt stars personified by 3 kings. Remember, it's a double story, telling it twice, just as it does on the other side of the stone. It tells the story in 2 different ways to Aldebaran. So that's the main star map. It's showing the way to what? Follow the other side of the stone. I've flipped it over now. Here is where the rest of the story lies. 3 suns shown in special marking ways with the Pleiades, and we're seeing that whole star map now in that stone. That is part of it. We have the utterance now in Egypt saying, okay, these are the markers that seem to be marking out 3 pyramids, 3 belt stars as being the most important part. That's the way shower to find the star of the gods, basically that. Now both Sumer and Egypt have that connection. That's just 2 ancient civilizations with that utterance, exactly as we see here. So let's look at it again. So it's Orion's belt throwing the way through the bullseye to that sun-like star. Keep that in mind as we take this further, and why the bull of ancient Egypt had the sun and the crescent of the gods, the exoplanet associated with the leg of the bull that he's pointing to on the back of his, behind his head. Okay, so we have basically the artifact. We have the columns of writing, which I'm going to quickly just have a peek at here. Go through it very carefully. Press pause and read it carefully. It's speaking about a god interaction with the king of ancient Sumer, the king of Babylon. And they're speaking of gateways, stargates, 2 capped star beings, and how this king had interaction with the gods, and they made him change his ways. He was a revered new law king that issued new laws of humanity, being humanitarian. This is what's happening now in our world. This is a repeated story that's going to take place probably in 2027, where the leaders of our countries who are wanting to be warlike and manipulate humanity are going to be shown the right way, or we all return home. Think about that word. How do we all return home to the tree of life? It's the most terrible thing you can imagine. We are destroying the planet like a disease that has to change now. Our planet is about to be destroyed with global warming, and we are cutting down forests faster than we can replant. So here's a breaking new finding, February 2023. These 3 I need to show all are telling the same story. These are all Genesis records in their own right, but obviously the Sumerian one has the greatest record. The Inca one says exactly the same thing, with cosmic serpents, Pleiades, 3 suns. Here we have 3 suns in the Maya Codex Borgia, and the Codex Borbonicus. Show Orion, you can see the belts there, Pleiades, 3 suns, the bird founding civilization, a man in a stargate. Hang on a minute. A picture of a man coming out of a stargate with cosmic serpent. Look at it closely. This is not my wild imagination. Look closely at the man coming out of the stargate. Let's take him out of the picture. That's what he's stepping out of. That's what he looks like, holding the ring device, just like the Sumerian artifact. 3 sun crown with little exoplanets on them. Isn't it amazing that this device, they even show it here with blue, like iridescence, like looking at water, just like the movie. They made a very good story to hide fact and fiction. That is the Maya artifact. There's other Maya details showing cosmic serpents coming out of the stargate, showing what I believe is that. You can come back and look at the close detail just now. Other devices shown on other Maya codices. This particular one showing cosmic serpents connecting to the different gods, and it's mounted on a base. This depiction shows the actual cosmic serpent connection, point of origin from the stargate to one where it's a point of arrival on Earth. The 2-hour documentary will cover all of these in great detail. The Christ story with a gate, 3 stars of Orion's belt and an exoplanet, and a cosmic serpent dragon. That's all there. Ancient esoteric murals. This is one with a mural of Christ with 3 sun-like stars as his title, that there were 3 sun-like stars. and the sacred feminine with sapientia, with the T being of Taurus Tau, Homo sapiens. It's just my theory. It's all covered in the 2-hour documentary. So is this. I'm not going to go much into this. It's in the documentary. But this Alpha Omega book is where we take the stargates into a whole new direction, which has been updated in a new publication that's been updated. So let's go back to the name for Orion's belt. Saha. That's the spoken word. This is how the languages originated in ancient Egypt. But if we had to designate what star type that is, in other words, a sunlight star, you would be able to add a Ra symbol. But then it would read Sahara. Where have we heard that before? The Sahara. Sahara. Is that a coincidence? That the name of the area with the 3 great pyramids, the largest monument in the whole of North Africa, the greatest probably historical reference landmark for the whole of North Africa, that was once green, that became a desert after the Great Flood, was name given to that as a desert. The Arabic name desert is Sahara. I don't think that's a coincidence. Here's another breaking new finding. In Egypt there are 5 different temples that show this utterance, that reveals the source and activity of the stargates of the gods, that show capped repeating utterances of 2 of them, and 1 that is active that went in the direction of Scorpio. Think about that. Wow. The Hatshepsut shows a little bit more artistic detail for the capping aspect, which I'll show you how we reason that. The Ramses temple shows a little bit more with the Scorpion, that life was brought to our solar system that resides in Scorpio. Now if you're on a star program looking at where our sun resides, it's right here in Scorpio. We'll show you a graphic for that in a minute. So what we're showing is 2 capped stargates, and then it repeats the utterance of inactive. There's nothing happening with these gates. They're off, they shut down. But there is 1 active. See that one, the plasma ribbon bursts out. That is the one that shows Scorpio, it connecting that the gods set out in the direction of Scorpio to find our sun. And that's what it looks like. If you go into a star program, click view from Pleiades, guess where our sun is? Right here. And then of course we've covered that. Now this part in the bottom shows how they ride these cosmic ribbons. The source of all these cosmic ribbon conduits comes from the Tree of Life. The Tree of Life is this great light area that I believe I experienced in a near-death experience. I came to this place and wanted to bring it back as a sense of responsibility. This is what is shown in ancient records as well, people being taught about the cosmic tree, and that this cosmic tree is living. It's the creation of all time, space, matter, and all life. But look at the top part of it. It's showing how the gods traverse the heavens. From this 2 mural of a picture of Horus Sakar riding the cosmic serpents, multi-headed, because obviously there's 3 suns on one side and our sun on the other. But the amazing part of it is that plasma ribbon depiction inside an enclosed object. We've seen it also at Dendara. There's your pillar of life, the Tree of Life that is living creation energy. It's holding its own self. It's showing that it's made artificially and shown in a big plasma bulb type thing, which is like a plasma ball that scientists have made today, where you can put a large charge in a gas like argon and you'll see these little ribbons. Now this is obviously a very unique plasma ribbon, one that is living energy that comes from the source, the creation. If ever there's a way of defining God creation on earth, it's this living light energy that's like a living cosmic serpent dragon that is conscious energy. So that's basically it. The 2 stargates were capped, 1 active. Now hang on a minute, let's recap on that. So there's the patterns that I've shown. We're going to look closely now at when it's capped. The capping effect takes that effect right there. We're going to show now, compared to Egypt, how obvious they've shown it. First of all, on the Sumerian artifact, it's the 2 capped temples right down there, 1 active with the upside down omega. We have the esoteric manuscript that shows the same thing, crescent, sun, and 1 with a cross, a blazing star, and 2 are capped with the knots and 1 that is active. You'll see that in the 2-hour documentary. And of course the Egyptian one. I'll look closely at these 2 right here. That's exactly what they're drawing. They're blocking out the sun star and making it just like I've shown here. 3 cases showing 2 kept, 1 active, to 3 suns, 2 that were shut down. One, the most important one that most of our history reveres, was the last journey of the gods through stargates. So what we're looking at really is the north and the south alignments, and this north alignment is the one I say is with the Big Dipper. But what is the south scan? On every Earth rotation, it's a scanned field of a ring of stars around the Earth, viewed with alignments. So there's the pyramid in Africa. We are measuring celestial pole with one, and it's the southern shaft that scans around the Earth every 24 hours. You won't believe what pyramids it scans. Here's a graphic. It's scanning an area that is below the Milky Way when Ursa Major was aligning with the pole star. So that's a whole different set of stars. Sirius is there, Orion is there, Taurus is there, the Pleiades especially align with the star shaft in one rotation every day of the year. Now, the question is my theory correct? Is this the 50 pyramid layout plan in Egypt, matching the star shafts? 1/3 of it is shown here from Sirius to the Pleiades, and that's 1/4, and this is the other 3/4 scan as you go past the Pleiades through Andromeda, Pegasus, Altair, Achernar, Canopus, and then back to Sirius. It is all there. All the pyramids match that layout. It's a 360-degree layout from Sirius, Giza pyramids, as Orion. The Sun Temple is the X marks the spot right in the middle of the pyramid field.
If the pyramids represent stars, alongside the River Nile, representing the Milky Way, then could this star shaft alignment be revealing which stars are chosen for their counterpart pyramids? It most certainly could, and here are the alignments. Would we find the X that marks the spot correlation, the star of the gods? At Abu Sir, we have a possible correlation. It was once a cluster of 7 pyramids that Herschel believes looked like this. In a far greener Egypt, after a great cataclysm. Pyramids built to correlate with the Pleiades, and one special sun star. The site was also situated closest to the first city of Egypt, called Memphis. Today, there might still be the remains of 2 pyramid foundations, lying under sand.
Now let's continue checking and testing the remaining 3/4 scan of correlations south of Abu Sir. The correlation matches are an absolute match. Looking at the complex Andromeda constellation, as outlined here in astronomy, size correlations again are a match. Two of the largest stars correlate with 2 of the largest pyramids. Memphis, its first city, would obviously be built next to its most sacred monuments. Here is where we prove the X marks the spot correlation. At the epicenter of the pyramid field, we have the giant gold-capped Sun Temple obelisk near Abu Sir. The obelisk that correlates with a very specific sun star.
Up until now, we have believed the Sphinx of Egypt was the ultimate monument with the pyramids. But for something else. The real ultimate monument was the only gold-capped structure on record. It had a celestial ship landing platform. However, what has been missed is what the winged disk of the gods really looked like.
Let's begin, firstly with a simplified version of the Egyptian Genesis papyrus. The down-pointing triangulation of 3 sun stars next to the Pleiades was seen as the womb of the star goddess Nut. Legend claims the Earth was also personified, like Nut, but as a green god, called Geb. His male anatomy, on the horizon shares the stars of Orion's belt, as he fertilizes Nut. This is where Nut births the sacred sun star, Sol 1 Primary. The Holy Grail legend, you will soon see, is based on this history where the chalice represents the celestial womb of 3 suns, and the blade, or stem, represents the male anatomy of Orion's belt, in celestial union.
It is from this special birthed sun that our ancestors set out in their celestial ship. Traveling down what looked like a beam of light, their craft landed on a raised platform, safe from lions in the area. Now let's piece together the components of the real papyrus record in tune with the narrative sequence. Nut is personified as the cosmos full of stars. Her fingers and toes touch the earth, from horizon to horizon. From her womb the utterance identifies a sun star, where 3 vertical stars in a row of Geb align and establish all life from this sun star. The leg of the bull, the place of the gods, touches her toes to narrate the story of the gods landing on the flat back of the Sphinx. It is the Sphinx of Giza, because it has the dream stellar crown above its head, and the waldak headdress of the Osiris statue that was in front of it.
The celestial ship, radiating multicolored light, landed on the Sphinx landing platform. The image next to it now explains the celestial ship, with a double wormhole, as it flies with its own terra firma line, sketched in above the ground. Behold, the real Jed Ankhshiraf papyrus, from the Cairo Museum. This interpretation of ancient records might sound far-fetched, if it was not backed up by other ancient records. The thing is, the landing on the Sphinx has multiple records. The Sphinx was so sacred in the human Genesis legend, the ancient Egyptians wanted to show both sides, in one image but had great difficulty in doing so.
Here is how the ancients came to agree how the Sphinx should be on record. A double Sphinx was the solution. No wonder Egyptologists became skeptics. There are many king tomb records of Zep Tepi, as they show the ship landing and going inside the Sphinx. Some show a cross-section through the flying disc as well, and how the cosmic serpent conduit is what it traveled on and through. Some records celebrated the ship radiating light, with a bright feathered banner on a pole, to carry in processions. It was not an actual fan to call a king at all. It was placed impaled on models of the Sphinx, that also had a chamber of knowledge shown beneath it. Here is a close-up analysis of the ceremonial banner. It has Horus as its occupant, with his sun star as a crown. The Sphinx has a flat back, and what looks like a door filled in with concrete, that is on record as possibly the oldest concrete record on Earth. Let's recreate Egypt's first time when the Sphinx was built.
The entire area of over 40 feet of valuable limestone no doubt became the source of blocks needed to build the pyramids of Giza. In its earliest epoch, it was functional, as a raised celestial ship landing platform, out of reach of roaming lion. It had a door to the legendary underground Hall of Records. But the green rainy period would end after the effect of the Earth cataclysm we are about to explore. The spreading deserts soon encroached the Nile. Soon, the visits by the advanced ancestors ended.
Khufu the reigning king wanted the damaged Sphinx to have his face. Then more drought cycles would follow, and the pyramids became nothing more than a source of blocks for temple building. One day, Tutmosis, while sleeping under the hollow Sphinx head, heard a voice. The voice was most likely the star visitors, worried the weight of the wet sand would cause the Hall of Records to collapse. The star visitors possibly removed sacred objects and left. The terrible cyclic droughts returned, the sand burying all the sacred sites beyond management. The Sphinx saw the end of a great empire. Thousands of years followed until we see it as it is today.
In 2005, authors Wayne Herschel and Birgit Lederer explored the Senmut tomb. Inside, hidden in plain sight, is the definitive sealing record of the gods founding Egypt. Horus Soker as Orion Man shows the way to the leg of the bull star cluster, which then shows the way to the tiny sun star in the night sky. Goddess Circuit stretches a cord representing the wormhole conduit to our solar system, and seen once again with a scorpion. Wayne suddenly realized Scorpio might be the view of where our local sun is seen when viewed from the Pleiades. It is true. We need one more clue to decode all the secret symbols here. The UK's CERN Abbas giant in Dorset is Orion Man. But unlike the encoded secret rod, or his belt showing the way, it is his male anatomy.
Now the mural comes full circle. A line joins the phallus symbol with Orion Man. The mystery is decoded. The dot and circle symbol origin is revealed. The sun symbol denotes any sun with a planet, either alien or not. Wayne Herschel has decoded many ancient symbols for suns, but never ever, not for one moment, did he realize he would include this star map connection with the origins of Christmas itself. The conical beam of light from the sun star that we are about to see repeat in multiple cases might be one of the lost teachings of the Christ, actually celebrating human origins from a star that is also his star. The conical beam of light from our origin star, Wayne believes, is the Christmas tree tradition, celebrating our human origins from a sun-star system. Long before the Christ celebrated December the 25th, the ancient Romans celebrated this unconquered sun on this day, called Sol Invictus.
It's time to look at the Dendara zodiac disk again. It has my ancient alien star map. The stars that I've identified in my star map theory are following the stars of Sirius, through Orion's belt, through the bullseye, to find the exoplanet and a sun star near the Pleiades. That's the Pleiades right over there. So knowing those stars, the Dendara disk shows Sirius with this little Horus and looks like a fish beneath it. That is the symbol for Sirius, scholars have agreed. Orion, there you can see his clothing makes that hourglass shape for the stars of Orion. That has been decoded by scholars. And the bull, very straightforward, a bull looking back at something very important. And we all know that behind the bull's back is the area of the Pleiades and these three sun-like stars. So what is the bull looking at on the Dendara disk? It needs more space. they seem to have taken an enlargement and they've put it right in the middle of the Dendara disk because it's so important. I always enlarge these areas when I'm showing the bull because they're just too small for the detail to be seen. It's a Genesis pictographic story that follows to explain the seeding of earth with the people of the Tauri and arrival. It shows the first male, first female, right next to the star of the gods. There it is right there. So we're going to see this on the Dendara zodiac disk. But what they fill in next to it is what got scholars being anti that the leg itself was representative of the Pleiades. They put in another constellation, and we'll see what they put there. Right at this point here is the center of the sky above the north Polaris star, the pole star, where the axis of the earth aligns with. So that got it all very confusing to put anything like the Pleiades next to that point. But it's because of the importance. There's the Dendara zodiac disk. Here's what we're looking at. Here's what they put as a constellation, Bootes. The plow symbol is there as well, and next to the Pleiades symbol. Right there, you can see the detail. There's a cleaver, and there's the plow. Now, what does that mean? Well, first of all, it's called the zodiac disk for a very simple reason. There are all the zodiac signs in order, going anti-clockwise from Taurus, Aries, Pisces. We'll go through that just now. Then we have the deacons, which are stars that rise on the horizon every 10 days, looking in the east, in Egypt. Not important right now. This is the part that's caused the problem because we have a North Pole, we have a Northern Pole star area of Bootes, but what is the Pleiades in this area? What's it doing in this area if it is the Pleiades? And of course the extra part is what I think are the stars that the star shaft of the Great Pyramid align with, which are the same pyramids, 50 of them, that make the stars of these areas. That is my theory. Okay, there it is. There's the star map that I've made very well known. Follow the Pleiades, leg of the bull, to find the star of the gods. First male, first female. It's like an Adam and Eve story, Genesis of Egypt. Taweret, they called her. She's there. There's Taurus the bull looking back at his leg. There is Orion. There is Sirius. Okay, so we have this following. Oh, if that is Sirius, it might even be a binary star confirmed here because they have two stars there. Follow through Orion's belt through to Taurus. He looks back on what's on the back of his area of the bull's neck, right? So there it is, right there. He's looking at that area. And this is the area that they've enlarged and got everything confusing, putting it above the North Pole star area. But to fit on the zodiac disk was the most important Genesis theme tied in with this. This is why it's been added here. It's because it's part of an explanation of a Genesis theme. Just to recap, there's Taurus, Pleiades behind the bull's neck. Okay, he's looking back behind his back, all right? So he's looking at that leg constellation. It's like he's turning his head. And of course Orion is beneath it, Sirius. So those are all on the Dendara zodiac disk. Now looking at the stars of the North Pole area, the northern constellations, Bootes is known as the hippo or the herdsman or the plowman. But these multiple, let's call them legends, have got everything confused. The plow or the cleaver is another name for Ursa Major or the Big Dipper, but it's the plow and the cleaver that are very important. You'll see how it looks like a plow, and the cleaver is the part out of the screen here. There is where the celestial pole aligns with. You can see that looks like a plow. We'll just confirm it for sure. And there is a cleaver as well. This Genesis deity called Taweret is either goddess of childbirth or bringing forth all children to the earth in colonization. We're going to review that very importantly, but she's trying to tell a story holding awkwardly two things over what I believe was the celestial pole, being the Big Dipper. Now that's something completely new as well. There is the center of the Dendara zodiac disk. The plow is in the middle. Okay, more detail. We see now that the leg of the bull is placed in the middle of it. So this is telling the story about the leg of the bull, and it coincidentally suits the stars that are over the North Pole axis. But there's more to Tauret. Tauret is also shown here with what I believe is the human DNA code tying to this leg of the bull, teaching about the Genesis story. She is teaching about Genesis. And Orion is shown here following his stars of this belt to this leg of the bull crown, okay. 7 stars, okay, and a sun star behind the head. And it is the leg of the bull as the Pleiades. I've shown from one coffin lid here. Look at the star match. Another coffin lid just shows it generally, but it's the most important part of the heavens to the ancient Egyptians, spoken of as the 7 eternal stars. So there we have it, okay. So looking now at the detail around that leg of the bull, it has 7 components in all. This is quite amazing. And Taurus, looking back at itself, these names are for the 7 stars, in my opinion, of Taurus. We also have 2 other stars. We have a trinity, a solar trinity taking place here. Looking closer at this area as well, you'll see just now the detail above here. There's even more story down here. But yes, I'm sure it's the leg of the bull as the Pleiades. The man wears the bull crown. The female, which is also the constellation Virgo on the zodiac aspect, shows the star on his staff with a bull above it and the bird on top of it, Horus, to found civilization. There are those 3 sun-like stars right there, in my opinion, and the bull looking back at his leg that has been severed. Our sun, I believe, is down here on the ecliptic because it's on the zodiac path with its position when viewed from the leg. In other words, viewing from the Pleiades, the sun is in the pincers of Scorpio. Now the cleave is pointing down to the Genesis deities down here, first male and first female. There's a clue already with that alone. It's not just the leg that shows the way to the star. Maybe the cleaver with a very large arc in the sky does the same thing. We'll measure that as well. There's the zodiac disc. Let's go right in now to all the zodiac stars: Taurus, Aries, Pisces, Aquarius, Capricorn, Sagittarius, then Scorpio, Libra, Virgo, Leo, Cancer, Gemini. Now, to have all these exactly the same as they are today, scholars are just shrugging their shoulders and saying, well, perhaps it just got passed down and we didn't realize it. But there's another bit here. There's the sun, as I said, in the pincers of Scorpio, and I think our moon is shown on the zodiac because they're all on the ecliptic. And the 7 names for the 7 stars, I believe, incorporates the bull. So if there's any question, okay, the scholars say yes, Taurus, okay, fine, a bull is Taurus. This bull symbology in the whole of ancient Egypt is Taurus because it's part of the naming of this leg, which is a bull's leg and tied to the actual bull itself. Okay, let's have a little bit closer look at some details. There's a Stargate aspect to its design as well. I believe it's looking at a window through the Stargate device, and the address being at the middle of it. If it's a window to the most important part of the stars and the Genesis story, we have standing in the west situation where we are the viewer looking in an easterly direction and north and south to the sides. Now there's a quite important clue there, because if that's true, it's on the horizon. It's measuring this Genesis star rising on the horizon. And we can measure on a star program that angle and see if it really is the Pleiades. And that is what we're going to measure. And here is our star program, confirmed. Looking in an easterly direction on the horizon at Christmas Day, I think it is, yes, Christmas Eve. That is the star constellation angle. It's an exact match. So we have now more proof of it being the Pleiades. But here's the breakthrough. That is the little window we're looking at. Standing in the west, looking east, Pleiades, 3 sun-like stars, 2 that are very important in most of my star maps. The third one has a lot of movement. This one is moving at a heck of a pace through the Pleiades area. 10,000 years ago, it was around about, 100,000 years ago, it was in this position. That's where it is today. And what do we have on the first degree tracing board? The same 7 stars and the same angle above the horizon. It seems to be an exact match. So Dendara matches the first degree tracing board with those stars. Now there's a second legend of Genesis where instead of Taweret they use the goddess Nut, and her womb is that triangulation, and this birthing of the most important sun star is shown coming from her womb in a separate tradition. This one probably predates the Taweret tradition, because Taweret is a hippo, it's Egypt. It's on Earth. It's probably only about maybe 12,000 years old at the most, but this even predates it from ancient teachings. As above, so below. That's the triangle pointing up, triangle pointing down. The birthed sun star. So, let's have another look at some more detail. Here is where it gets very confusing and why scholars are still in disagreement. That is the Plough constellation as pole star. If that is true, let's see if it is a plough. First of all, there is the traditional Egyptian plough. You can see the similarity. It is a plough. It is the Plough constellation that is being shown here as the pole star. So it's not just showing a general northern constellations around the North Pole area. This really is pointing it right onto the plough itself as above the axis of the Earth. That's the zodiac ring of stars, and that's where they put the pole star position as the Big Dipper. And then we have our story now teaching about this Genesis. Taweret with this, another symbol for this is the a cleaver, and it's pointing down to that star. So there are two ways to point down. And it's teaching as a herdsman where the leg has been severed from the bull to pull the plough. Think of the wording of what's going on here. Ploughing with the herdsman, teaching of the childbirth of humanity. There's something being told here, and this is where we have another breakthrough. Taweret, goddess of childbirth, is ploughing to seed what? To seed our solar system with the Tauri human lineage seed. Our sun is next to the star of the gods, which is also very important. There's a time of the year when the two come together, and it's probably measured on a festival, and it's our sun that's being seeded in this Genesis story of Taweret. That's no doubt now that is the DNA code for humanity. That is that symbol, and that is where our sun is viewed from the Pleiades area in Scorpio, which is also amazing. This is also showing how it's kind of showing the way to it, and that's what it looks like on the star program when you view from the Pleiades where our sun is positioned. And of course, goddess Serket shows the little scorpion with the orb on her head as goddess of our sun in this instance. There it is, right there, that point on the plough. Right, now I'm showing this graphic here to show the similarity in the Mithras tradition of severing the leg of the bull. It's with a cleaver. Looking at the star program, there's Botis, the hippo goddess, Ursa Major, I should say, with the cleaver effect. You can see the cleaver now. Let's just do those details. So there's the cleaver. Now the plough. You can see it's a plough. There it is at Dendara. Now I can understand why they called it a plough. The similarity of that sort of graphic to the Egyptian plough. But now we need to measure what the cleaver is pointing to on the ecliptic. Here's the ecliptic. Here's our very important star area. Our sun passes right next to the star of the gods, as I mentioned earlier. And do you notice something here? There it is. Right there. The cleaver is another means of finding the location of the star of the gods. It's a much bigger arc in the sky. When we look at between Orion and the sun-like star, it's only 33 degrees of arc, okay? But this one is 90 degrees of arc measurement. 90 and 33 degrees of arc. There's Orion there filled in. 33 degrees with dividers and a square. 90 degrees. That sounds very familiar. Okay, so we have Botis with the cleaver, the leg of the bull. Those parts and components now completely make sense, using this as a way shower to find the star of the gods. Now, precession has a point to add to it as well, because the North Pole wasn't exactly Polaris. It was, as they're showing on the Dendara disk, the Big Dipper. So my point is that the Big Dipper is the point of the area above the axis of the Earth. So here's what scholars have said. You've got this precession wobble. 2,000 years ago, they suggested Thuban in Ursa Minor was the old pole star. I disagree now. I'm saying it's more of an ellipse. You go back in time, probably to 12,800 years ago, before the impact event that started the wobble that I showed in my Atlantis discovery. What ended Atlantis and what caused the Earth to wobble. That is what I'm showing is different. That is my theory as Ursa Major being the pole star. Looking at another star atlas position, we're measuring a degree of difference from what scholars are saying to where I say the old North Pole axis star was. And if that is true, and we take it back to when the pyramids were designed for the old, before the flood design, when one shaft of the south aligns to the most important, the shaft aligning to the north goes to what is currently Polaris. This would have been the Big Dipper in ancient times. So what we're looking at really is the north and the south alignments, and this north alignment is the one I say is with the Big Dipper. But what is the south scan? On every Earth rotation, it's a scanned field of a ring of stars around the Earth, viewed with alignments. So there's the pyramid in Africa. We are measuring celestial pole with one, and it's the southern shaft that scans around the Earth every 24 hours. You won't believe what pyramids it scans. Here's a graphic. It's scanning an area that is below the Milky Way when Ursa Major was aligning with the pole star. So that's a whole different set of stars. Sirius is there, Orion is there, Taurus is there, the Pleiades especially align with the star shaft in one rotation every day of the year. Now, the question is my theory correct? Is this the 50 pyramid layout plan in Egypt, matching the star shafts? 1/3 of it is shown here from Sirius to the Pleiades, and that's 1/4, and this is the other 3/4 scan as you go past the Pleiades through Andromeda, Pegasus, Altair, Achernar, Canopus, and then back to Sirius. It is all there. All the pyramids match that layout. It's a 360-degree layout from Sirius, Giza pyramids as Orion. The Sun Temple is the X marks the spot right in the middle of the pyramid field. Incredible correlations to compare, and I'll do all this in the 2-hour documentary. I want to go through my as above so below story because Martin Molnagov of Hungary has made an amazing finding not far inland from Luxor with an ancient oasis of the people that probably founded Egypt. So the as above so below theory that I founded in 2003 was the pyramids are, okay, we know that that's Orion's belt from Boval's theory. That is 3 in a row that show the way to that which is in the heavens. So you have the monument, the triangle facing up, the 3 suns on the horizon make that triangulation with the Pleiades, and that is the womb of the goddess Nut. Ancient Egypt mythology says that she's the creator of the universe as a female that gives birth to the most important one in Egypt was Sol 1. We were looking at Sol 3 and Sol 2 as well. And then my Grail theory that the Holy Grail is an origin of Orion's belt, sacred masculine. This is the male anatomy. Okay, it shows the way, just like that. There's the male anatomy rising on the horizon to this triangulation of the 3 suns that is the vessel, the sacred feminine, the Pleiades, 3 sun-like stars that make the womb of Nut. And in the Suku temples, Indonesia relief, you see a cosmic serpent going around, sacred feminine, sacred masculine. Is this not proof of the Holy Grail? That I made quite well known at least 10 years ago now. But why I'm showing it today is because of the sacred womb and the Egyptian story and the story of the Suku temples in Indonesia all seem to be showing that the womb of the Egyptian goddess Nut, being those three sons, birthing, in this case, is that one. But Egypt is more focused on Sol 1, definitely, no doubt about it. The Sphinx landing papyrus. To me, it looks like a UFO that landed on, and I'm pointing to it here. Dome, disc, 3 legs. There's a door on the back of the head. You can see it in my main documentary, but that's not today's story. It's the cosmic goddess of Nut. There's her womb. There's the utterance of the birthing of the star. Cosmic serpents. It gives life, and then there's 3 dots in a row. It means some way of speaking it, okay, and telling the story. The vault of heaven. Okay, but where the toes touch the horizon, Pleiades rising, and that orientation is showing where they came from in this birthing of the cosmic womb sun. Now I want to show another artifact showing the cosmic womb. There it is, right there again. I said this was Orion's belt in one of my recent updates. There's Orion's belt, shows the way to the Star of the Gods, to a double cross, okay, cross and another cross. And they're showing the little line to a story down here that is the womb of Nut. And there's 1, 2, and then there's not much left there. I think the third one is probably the one that they've put on top here, that you use Orion's belt to follow it. So the story is about this cosmic womb and birthing a son. That's just pictographically speaking what this teacher is teaching students. Now take that into consideration when we look at where we're going now. Back to the place area of Luxor was down here. This is the Nile River, goes right up to the delta at the top. This is the Dakhler oasis. Dakhler, I think it perhaps pronounced. That area there, there's been a finding by Martin that is absolutely mind-blowing. There's a Templar cross there, but this is not just any Templar cross. This is this should predate the Templars. They show it like a Templar cross, and then they even put in elements of different pieces. There's probably 2 that are faded away. You can barely see anything there, but these 2 are showing that they've got the correct elements that go with the Templar cross. But that means very little on its own. It's just another cross, just another ancient civilization. The Sumerians had it. They all had this little cross depiction, didn't know what it meant. But we do know what it means when you look at how they are in context with the stars. Because next to it, literally a few meters to the side of it, is another one. The swastika. Now why is this so important to the story? Well, there's your cosmic womb. Scholars say that it's sacred feminine anatomy, no doubt about it. No arguments there, but they thought they just carved it out on the stone because they were perhaps just honoring their woman. Who can say? But looking at the Egyptian story, there's a lot happening here in my story. Where this came from Atlantis. We have to look at the Atlantis stone. This is an artifact found north of the Janana site that I show as Atlantis with the 2 circular canals imprint. A swastika with a piece coming off the actual spoke of the nebula, showing the way to the star of the ancestors. Because it's showing something coming off one of the spokes to the womb. Okay, said to be the people that had ties to founding Egypt. So this might have been a group of the people just after the flood. And that green stone you looked at just now was a little bit north of this area. So they're telling the same story. That is the only way to interpret it. There is Orion. There's a little bit of detail down there. Let's have a closer look there. Hang on a minute. There's something round there. Okay, and this looks like a little L-shaped object there. And then the pattern that it follows, probably a cosmic serpent from this exoplanet, because that is very common in ancient Egypt. To the womb. It's showing the way to the place of 3 sons where one is being birthed. The important birthing of Sol 1 for the Egyptians. All very well, put in the dots there just so you know that's where we're looking. And that is the pattern that I'm going to be going a lot deeper in for the next piece of the puzzle. Because we're going to compare this one now with the one that we saw that's next to it. That's the Templar cross. This is just the explanation I've given you. put the two together. Okay, I've put them in one image so you can compare them. Similar sizes. This is slightly different stones, much smoother. But now, two different interpretations of Orion in the earliest of times. But here we have two right next to each other. Why would this be so important? The two earliest Egyptian petroglyphs, placed a few meters apart. Why would it be one of the most important new discoveries on human origins? Well, this is where it takes the story further. Everything basically being proved, so to speak. I believe it's the rising and setting of Orion. That's why they're close together. One using the cross and one the swastika. They're both the same thing, but they're showing two different traditions. Rising and setting of Orion. Orion's star map of the ancestors from one horizon to the other. So it rises from there. I'm going to put in the solar markers, okay, that you use the one rising in that direction. And as it goes over the face of the earth to the other horizon and sets in the west, the orientation is obviously different. Those are the two star maps next to each other. So you could show it like that. And Orion's belt being there, rising and setting, and you're finding the target in two different angles. So we've got two traditions and two X marks the spots, which is basically the same star, celebrated in two portions. If human origins tied to this star map as the place of our ancestors, and those that founded our civilizations want us to prepare for their arrival during a crisis, how could they explain who they are and when they are returning and in what space vehicle? We'd need to know all of that if there was a message left for humanity, and I'm saying they have told exactly that. You put in the four components that complete the swastika through all of history, same with the Templar cross, same four components, because it's the same thing with two different traditions. Okay, swastika tradition, cross tradition. We've got the rising and setting, which you just covered, and all we need to do is use some sort of computer code that humanity is used to. So if an alien was leaving a message, pick one of our earliest computer codes. So we'd use the first punch card computer code by Siemens in this example, where it has little holes punched in a long ticker tape thing, and you'd have to encode the most important thing on the ticker tape. This is showing the little cogwheel where the cogwheel fits in, and this is the message. It's showing how the tape works, and the question would be, what is the most important thing we are asking aliens? If they had to leave us a message, what are we going to be asking? Obviously the most obvious. When are they going to return? They could show a picture and the wording, chariot, return. I mean, if we could find a message that told the whole story like this, that would be mind-blowing. I was looking in Donana near the two circular canal fingerprints that I have identified in my Atlantis book story, and while I was looking for ruins in this area, notice all these rice fields. They're literally two squares to make an oblong. It's almost like a grid pattern. This would be a perfect place for aliens to leave a message if their origins are tied with founding Earth in the area of Atlantis. This is the most important place to leave a message. I refreshed my screen and this is what I got. This is absolutely amazing. It was so far-fetched in my opinion when I refreshed my screen. I thought it was a hoax. But this is exactly what we saw just now. One with a swastika, one with a Templar cross, the exit marks the spot, this is the star map, this is the message. Two little punch holes in the tape. There's that curved area that's part of the story of identifying what this area is. It's a punch card tape. There's the curvature of the paper as it bends. These are ellipses. We're looking at it from an angle. It's telling you to look at it from an angle. And that makes the date 2027. If you want to know the exact day, you need to follow my Atlantis story. Ancient alien human origins from Taurus, the Nama palette or the Nama tablet. Let's have a relook at it completely. A pictographic Egyptian Genesis record. There's no textual material here. There are symbols. It's in the Cairo Museum, by the way. It speaks of the first king, Dynasty 1, Zep Tepi, the beginning, the earliest epoch, people from Punt, Atlantis. A bull with a human face. That speaks out very, very, very strongly. It depicts an obsession with its ties to the bull of the heavens. Humans from Taurus. Look at the Gerzer tablet. It is also pre-dynastic Egypt. Taurus with 3 suns, the Eye of Aldebaran. It's the star map, completely. Well, let's look at the title of the tablet, the top portion. The bull's heads, 2 bull's heads, but they're not just that ordinary bull's head. The detail explains a Tauri genesis, humanity from Taurus, as you see in the bottom here, that we're going to go through in great detail at the grand conclusion. But the title, Nar Mer, comes from the catfish symbol and the chisel symbol seen in the sky, a ship, probably that depiction there with the Pleiades, just as it makes the same shape as the leg of the bull. But there's more. Let's look at the next detail. Narmer with his mace to found civilization. In my opinion, it's Narmer being personified by Osiris Orion. I'm convinced Narmer sees himself personified as Osiris Orion, just as you see in the Dindara Zodiac mural that is in the main documentary, the 2-hour-plus documentary. But that mace is also seen on the Sumerian Genesis stone, founding our solar system. It's also in the 2-hour-plus documentary. But let's go a bit further. The 2 dragons with entwining necks and controlled by 2 people, I believe, represents the same as the Dharma Herob papyrus, a stargate with the sun behind the entity. The Ouroboros makes the stargate. The 2 entities are actually a plasma ribbon, just like you see in the Shen artifact, seeing 3 suns, the initiate going through a stargate. Sounds far-fetched, but wait till you see the other evidence in the 2-hour documentary. The round cartouche. Look at this cosmic serpent plasma ribbon coming out to one of the 3 suns. And of course, the highlight of the Alpha Omega book, the Stargate itself in an inscription. But let's now look at the person standing behind Nama, the scribe narrating the story. He has a 7-pointed star and a keyhole symbol. I believe it represents a star with the 7 rays of light, like in Mithras, just as we found in the Senma tomb. I believe it is the origin of the Christmas tree. It's found on the Key of Solomon and the Freemason first degree tracing board. It's all in the 2-hour-plus documentary. Now, looking at the strange eagle landing on the back of what looks like the Sphinx. In my 2-hour documentary, I proved that this papyrus looks like a UFO landing that radiates light, which was celebrated later with a ceremonial fan, a banner, representing this landing of the first ship of the sky. It's just recording 6 events landing on the back of the Sphinx. That's just my opinion. I'm not too sure about the bottom part here. 2 entities, looks like a beam of light from the star and building being founded. Hard to call on that one, but let's continue. Here's the main part, the utterance of Nama. This is what the tablet's recording. Nama's proclamation. Mortal descendants of Osiris, a ruler of Lower Egypt, came from the stars, a union between Sol 1, primary, and our sun. That's what I believe it represents. He founded his city, and the terrible part of it, he was very barbaric. He destroyed his enemies. There's also a ship with a cosmic door in front of it, and that's basically talking about the wormhole, in my opinion. Now the best part of all, the bottom right. A bull of Taurus and the god with what I believe is 3 suns in front of his face, and how it connects to the back of the Taurus bull. There are 7 little blocks in there for the Pleiades, in my opinion. There's also a little bit more being shown here. Look how the bull touches the back of the deity, and he touches the front leg of the bull, one of the front legs. But the most important leg is that one there that he is touching, in recognition of the 7 stars of the Pleiades, 3 sun-like stars, the leg of the bull, and that sun-like star right there. It is just like the ceiling mural of the Temple of Dendara, the bull that tells his story. Here we go. That strange symbol on the bull's top part of his thigh is telling a story. That's not a thigh muscle. It's the Osiris Walduck. Osiris as Orion has this weird kind of headdress, and when you put it in that position like a puzzle piece, his face looks down at the leg of the bull, and that's what the bull is trying to tell you to do as well. Look at the leg of the bull and follow it. Now let's look at the rib cage. Three that are spaced equally, it could be a rib cage, but then when it does this, there's something else happening here. It's literally like a shockwave coming off this leg of the bull to go in that direction. The secret of what this leg of the bull means, it's all about that. The sun that is found on the back of the Taurus area, and of course the sickle crescent. And I explain in astronomy, astronomical stories, the only way you get a sickle crescent is like in an eclipse with the moon and the sun, and in this case an exoplanet and a sun. You will have this unique sickle-shaped crescent. It does not happen in moon phases at all, so references to this being the moon, it's fake, not true. There's an amazing extra piece of information here with the Osiris Walduck that is shown on the Taurus bull thigh as a way shower to find the star of the gods. The hat itself is actually showing the way. It's saying that Orion, if this is the representation of Orion, as we see in the Dendara zodiac disc, Orion was Osiris with his Walduck, as you follow from Sirius, double binary star, through the belt of Orion, through to Taurus, and then the Taurus bull is turning his head to look at what is on the back of the bull, and then they enlarge it on the Dendara disc. That's a whole story on its own in my 2-hour documentary. So Osiris is actually showing the way to the star of the gods. So it's either using Orion or using the bull's leg. And that's pretty much the Dendara bull telling his biggest secret there. So there's Taurus, there's the main beast sort of shape formation, the bull's eye. The leg of the bull is that star formation that is the myth of the leg being severed in the Mithras cult, the severing the leg of the bull and it set it free, and it's that little shape in the heavens, that little constellation shape, and you follow the alignment to find an exoplanet and a sun-like star, which is a real sun-like star, HD 283271. So that's part of it, and then of course there's the Orion's belt following to find that sun-like star. You either use the leg of the bull or following through from Orion's belt through the bull's eye, shooting an arrow through the bull's eye. That is the legend of the arrow and the bull's eye, in my opinion. I'm sure it's pretty obvious that started it. When you're talking about shooting an arrow at the bull's eye, it's the secret of our human origins. This is exactly what we find on the Nama tablet, both saying exactly the same thing. But this story repeats itself in many other different details in the 2-hour documentary. You have to see the whole thing, and it'll be in the description link or at the end of the video. It's all about Taurus, human origins. We are the descendants of those that founded Atlantis.
With the earlier Sumerian clay tablets' precise version of the cosmic human origin star map, and how it matched the template at Stonehenge, would come the mindset that had Herschel set out to search the Atlantic Ocean seabed. It would be this clue that would culminate in this documentary's biggest revelation.
As the world was counting down to 2012, I was watching Google Earth, looking for ruins, refreshed my page, and I saw that. I recognized that curvature from somewhere. This could be a computer code. I think it's first contact. The ancients are returning. I've published a book Herschel's Atlantis, and there's a 2-hour documentary you'll see at the end of the video. These are my 3 books. I'm trying to promote Saving Forests, $19 for all 3, 1 delivery. I am now making something very special available to all my patrons. All my patrons who join the quest will be in contact with me directly from that day forward to 2027. Not just that, all my patrons who pass the 2,000K mark, or activists, or are going to be the people bringing this quest forward after 2027, they will also be given the keys to the vault, this extra secret knowledge, and they will have copies of it for all my work to be brought forward. Even if computer systems go down, they will be repaired one day. They will reactivate that work and prove all the work that I've done over 20 years.